Greetings. Welcome.
Hello. Welcome to Turtle Soup.
To Turtle Soup.
It's your boy Ryan.
It's your boy Eric. And this is Turtle Soup, the world's only listener, viewer, supporter, community-supported podcast, YouTube channel dedicated to the ongoing journey of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all the way from the very beginning, which was 1984, to when Mariah Carey finally releases her hidden secret rock record. Ryan, do you know about this?
No.
Yeah,
It's a rock record?
so apparently there was some news that came out. I don't remember when or whatever, but it just hit my wife's ears, and she's been all about it. And she's just started her music YouTube channel up again, and she's like on an investigative mission to find all this stuff. And so she's been going into it. But apparently, and this is really sad, from what I remember her telling me about it, Mariah was like, this was like right whenever, like, what was it, Fantasy, whatever her biggest, like her first big record was coming out.
Yeah.
She said that she wanted to do something that all the white girls could do, which they could sing about being angry and like have all these different emotions, but it could be all in the same song or something to that effect. And I was like, dang, Mariah, that's some deep stuff right there. Like, you know? And I was like,
Yeah.
you do that rock record and what the hell, you know, get on there with Dolly Parton and y'all both make a dual disc rock record and the world will be better for it, I'm sure. But until that fully ever actually happens.
I wouldn't throw Dolly Parton in there because Dolly Parton turned down her Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination because she doesn't play rock and roll.
No, I thought it was because she said until she does her own rock and roll record, because she felt like she didn't deserve it. So that's why you had yeah. Because I guess the way you took it was that she said that she's like never going to, and I guess the way I had been hearing it was that she's not done it yet.
No, I think she said she never had. Is what she said.
Yeah, she never
She
had.
I never have. So
But
like I shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But that she will.
I mean, of course, she can do anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So that there's always the potential. But nevertheless, either way, it's probably better for Turtletarians because if it doesn't happen, then the show's going to keep going. So there you go.
There, exactly.
But
flip the light switch 3 times, Eric won't die.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. Oh, goodness. Well, speaking of keeping the lights on, we keep the lights on here on YouTube. And we're streaming live every Thursday as best we can. Tech issues, pending. But, so be sure to hit the bell icon, get notifications, subscribe, like, all that stuff. I know you hear it all the time on YouTube, but it really does help everything out. And it's really neat on the backside to see how it affects everything. So we really appreciate everyone who's done that. And all those of you who will do that. Thank you so much. But again, people that actually keep all of our lights on, Ryan, are our patrons. They are the bread and butter, the heart and soul, the ham and cheese, the chocolate and milk. Does that work? Anyway, they are everything that keeps this show, the fuel that keeps this show going from Sang Clang, and they pledge their support, much like April and Splinter do in the first NES Turtles game, and they do that every month. And we just want to send a special shout out right now to 2 very special patrons, Jake Niehaus and Mick Lockyer. So thank you guys so much for your support, and we're going to continue to not say Clang because of that.
Yes.
So Ryan, where are we at in the journey today? Can you let everyone know?
Today, on this 281st episode of Turtle Soup, we will be reviewing issue 7 from Image Comics TMNT Volume 3. That is from February of 1997. And we are going to be running that plan. It's a good one.
It is.
And it delves into more of some of that lore and that background. And this comic's been on a run like that. So really excited to review it with you guys.
Oh, absolutely. So, so where are you at, Ryan, in the journey, in your own personal journey? Like, where have you been? Because I feel like you've got something going on.
Yeah. So last night, I guested on How He Sees It, which is Noah Overton. He's a longtime listener of the podcast.
Yep.
We've mentioned his show. Eric and I have been on the episode about Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah, that was so much fun. I was
on the episode about Rocky Horror Picture Show as well. I was told last night when we recorded our newest episode that that I am I'm the most appeared person who's not a regular person on the show.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
I'm there.
You're there. You won. You did it.
So I like it.
Congratulations.
So we reviewed There Will Be Blood, which is
Ooh.
like probably my favorite movie.
Yeah.
It started off as a joke because they're like, well, hey man, like what would you want to do? You know, like I was like, There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
And it's totally not the kind of movie that they cover. Like they cover a ton of MCU stuff,
Yeah.
comedies and different stuff. And it's not to say they don't cover like action movies or like movies that have like deep stuff to them,
Mm-hmm.
but not really like necessarily like art films or like very somber films like There Will Be Blood.
Right.
So I definitely appreciated them kind of moving out of their comfort zone. And I think we had, I mean, the movie's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
The podcast is 2.5 hours long. I mean, we plumbed the depths.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see everyone's perspective. You know what I mean? I think that like Steve hits a nice balance between like me and Noah's angles. Like Noah is looking for, stuff like Noah's looking for angles on like kind of like the angle of like, okay, but what's the plot? Okay, but what's like the story, right?
Right.
Like, and then I'm looking for like, oh no, but it doesn't matter. There's this one tiny thing in this one shot. That's me.
Yeah.
And Steve is like right down the middle on that. So I think we struck a good balance. If you've seen the movie and want to hear some very awesome kind of critique and deep dive into the themes of it, definitely check it out. If you haven't seen that movie, you probably should. And then after you see it, you can listen to the podcast. But it was great. And yeah, I want to thank Noah and Steve for having me on again. I always have such a good time when I'm on there. And that episode is out. So the podcast is called How We Seize It. And it's the newest episode, There Will Be Blood. And it's got your boy Ryan on it. So go check it out.
That's awesome.
They've got over 100 episodes. And yeah, like they're a really fun show. So definitely, if you haven't checked them out, go do that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I had a blast when I was on it, and I was really sad because I kind of lost track of time and when we were doing it, so I missed it. But all this other stuff going on in the background here at the Turtle Soup Lab,
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're in that lab.
Yep, trying to get everything working again because we missed last week. So thank you for y'all's continued patience and patronage and all that fun stuff. We really appreciate it. But yeah, we're back up and running, and we shouldn't run into that same issue for a long time now if we ever do again. But yeah, so I speaking of that, one of the things I'd been working on, and I showed it in the pregame show. I'm not going to show it here. I'm just going to mention that we're working on new Patreon stuff. So that's what I've been doing. I've been redesigning some stuff and kind of like borrowing some things from the actual books, the Turtle books, and kind of like appropriating it for our own likenesses and things like that. So yeah, so if you're curious about any of this, you got to come check out the pregame show on YouTube because that's where you get all the hidden details and secrets and stuff. So, but besides that, dude. So I forgot to mention this, I think the last episode, but it's just been hitting me. I've been having that thing where when you haven't really sat down with music in a while, and then when you do, it's just you're inundated with it constantly, like in your head, like you can't stop. And what was weird was that my wife, for my birthday, she took us to go see Cursive Thursday and the Appleseed Cast at the Hard Rock in Orlando, and it was an amazing show.
The Pleased Cast?
Yeah, the Pleased Cast, if you're an imbecile, yes. But yeah. So, no, but they were amazing. Oh, and it was so good. And speaking of them, it's that thing where that indie band that you like that is well known in underground circles, but not your normal person's not going to know about them, especially just someone going to the Hard Rock to see them. They were playing, they opened up, they were amazing. And I heard this dude that didn't seem like, a guy that should normally be there was like, who are these guys? Oh my gosh. Like, and you just kept hearing people saying that. And I was getting so excited for the band because I'm like, this is that stuff you hear before like good stuff starts happening for a band. So hopefully that'll catch up to them. But we were there, and Thursday and Cursive were fantastic. And I've seen them both. I've seen all those bands before, but they were still great to see again. And dude, like those songs got stuck in my head for 2 weeks. Just as soon as I went to sleep, like laying down to sleep. And then first thing when I woke up, it's like, it's like press play or like the needle drops and all of a sudden it's like spooling up. And oh my goodness, it was unnerving to like, I didn't know how to, I just kind of powered through it. But like, we're music fans, we're musicians. We love this stuff. But I guess like I had to temper myself from singing everything because, as we've mentioned on the show before, at least my significant other and our a long time member of the show, Farmer Greg now, they don't take too kindly to repetition. So I have to kind of keep, if I want to keep my head, I got to keep my mouth shut a little bit on some of those songs. But anyway, that's just been, thankfully now like another week removed, I've kind of gotten away from it. But goodness,
you dried up a little bit on that.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, like I had a similar thing that's been happening to me recently, and I don't know what causes this, but it's similar where I have to like, all of a sudden I have to re-up on on a song or something. Like it gets in my head.
Right.
And then I'm like, but like, okay, so that's triggering to hear it. So I hear it. But then I get in this like loop with it where like I have to hear it again and again and again. And I don't want to do anything else. Like, I mean, literally, it's almost like the raccoon that has a hold of the shiny thing and will like, like lay there and die instead of let it go.
Yeah.
Like kind of thing. Like it gets like that. And that's also hard when you live with people. Because like you either got it in your ear running it straight, like, you know what I mean, which means you're listening to it, which means like, you're kind of not listening to them, or you play it out loud and they're like, why again? Why this song again? And recently it's been, and I've kept it pretty undercover, it's been this song by this artist named Bricka, and the song is called Mumbai. And I don't know why. Like, I mean, that's a good record. The record is called Voice Memos, I think.
Okay.
And it's really good. And she's definitely like kind of like a electronic artist. She has there's definitely some like kind of like Spanish vibe to her music, which I really like. There's always like a Spanish feel to a lot of the songs, and Mumbai really has that. It has killer bass. Like the main instrumentation is a bass. He's playing like chords on bass and bass parts on bass, and it sounds
great.
And then it halfway through it gets this like super like Spanish vibe going on, and I it's been about a week now where I'll just like kind of have to re-up again, and I've been on this song for a week,
right?
And it's really obnoxious,
man.
So I'm always like finding times to sneak it in, like, you know what I mean, and like trying to like kill like everybody around me with it.
Now are the lyrics in Spanish?
No.
Oh, okay, because I imagine that's got to be like way worse for someone who doesn't natively speak the language or really know it that much, and then to have the song, and then you're just like do you just keep repeating those?
Well, I get on my Hector Lavoe though, and that's all in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And when I get on that, my boy Brad, he's heard that already. Like when I get on that plan, there's like this awesome Hector Lavoe anthology on Apple Music. I run that plan. Yeah. And it is all of that legitimate, like I'm talking about South American Spanish music going on, and it's happening. Right. Like it's like Colombia all over again, and it just goes on forever.
But like, do you start singing it? Do you start singing the lyrics though? Do you start singing?
I sing whole sections in Spanish. I have no idea
okay, great. That's what I wanted to
Absolutely.
know. That's what I wanted. Okay, yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. No, if you haven't screwed around with Hector Lavoe and you do like Spanish music, he's basically like the Spanish David Bowie.
Oh, okay.
South American David Bowie.
Right.
I think he was from Colombia, I'm pretty sure. But I got into him from a Puerto Rican friend of mine who was basically like, I just listened to this in my house growing up.
Oh,
we used to listen to it at work, and I got into it. I'm like, no, this is hot fire. And the best thing about listening to it with him is this guy named Josue. He's like such a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be working, and he'd be playing. I'd be jamming out, and he'd just occasionally like lean over and just give me a line from it, and it was always like dark as hell.
Oh,
like
I remember you
the
telling me
songs
about
are
this.
apparently
Yeah.
mega dark. Yeah. And we'd be working. He'd be like, "My love for you is like a train off the tracks," and I'm like, "Okay." And then another line goes by, and he goes, "And that's why I'm falling into this crevasse." I'm like, what? And stuff like that. And then the highlight, I'm sorry, I know I'm going on a minute, but the best part of that exchange, that culture exchange with Josue, was the time I decided to put on Mars Volta's Francis the Mute at work.
Oh, goodness.
And he got into the second song, and he looked at me, he goes, "Do you know what he's saying?" Because he sings parts in Spanish. And I'm like, "Not really." He goes, "Okay." When it's over, he kept shaking his head, and when the record's over, he goes, "Look, I love that, but I never want to hear it again."
Yeah, it's deep stuff. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "I can't handle it."
Yeah.
Like the lyrics. And I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." Because to me, I'm like, it's just epic music. Like I don't think about what he's saying in Spanish,
Right.
but apparently he's like, yeah, it's really disturbing.
Right. That's
Like, he
the
wouldn't
stuff.
even tell me what he was saying.
Right. That's
Yeah.
why I really enjoyed Japanese music, like the J-pop and K-pop and stuff that I was listening to, because like I could listen to the melody and the emotion, but I didn't have any of the context of the lyrics, which was, there's something to be said about that, ironically. And but I was thinking you were gonna say that you would whisper to Josue some Coheed lyrics, like, "I hope you die right now when you drink my chemical," and then like
I definitely
walk
play
away.
Coheed for him for sure, because and that lyric in particular, he was like, "That's a weird one." I'm like, "Oh yeah,
so
no,
weird.
it is. It's great." But yeah, it was
Man.
good. But that's. I'm glad to hear that you're out of your problem.
Yeah,
because
that
can,
loop was nuts.
A song getting stuck in your head can actually drive you insane. Like
Yeah.
And yeah. But are you ready to move on? We have a very special email I want to read.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you good?
I am totally good.
Okay,
Let's
so
read it.
this is from Melissa Rivers, who's a new listener. Subject line just says, "I should have listened."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh, it's so
"Should've
good.
listened to what?" And at first, because our email has been clogged with like a bunch of bot, like, let me be part of your social media team, like crap. It always
Promote it on
sometimes
this.
it has.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sometimes like visitor inquiry. Hey, what's up? My name's Roger, and I'm like your best friend, and I'm like, get out of here,
Yeah.
Roger. I hate you. So
hate
a lot of
you.
them sometimes have subject lines that kind of look like this.
Yeah.
So at first I was like, oh, don't let I should have listened ellipses. Don't let that be
Yeah.
to this awesome advice on how to like up your SEO. I didn't want, you know what I mean, to be a thing,
Yeah.
like some clickbait.
Yeah.
It's not. Now buckle in, because this is a long story. It's pretty epic, but it's pretty amazing. So here we go. Hey guys, my name is Melissa, and I'm in the process of binging the show from episode 1 to the present. Ooh, you know what I'm saying? That's
God
the
bless
journey
you.
of life.
That's the hero's journey.
Currently on episode 99 as of writing this. In fact, I'm listening while I'm writing, so in a weird way, this message is from your 2015 past while it is happening in your present.
Wow.
That's
some Star
great.
Trek stuff.
I've come to love your show, and it's given me one good thing to laugh about during this hard time in my life. I've always loved the Turtles, and I came to the realization several years ago that this fandom is the one thing in my life I give myself full permission to be a nerd about, collecting comics, figures, t-shirts, etc. And your show has given me the honest excuse to embrace that side of myself that takes joy in the Turtles, even if I can't explain why other than they just make me happy. I'm enjoying the show, and at the rate I'm at, I'll have caught up to the current release time in a couple more weeks.
That's wild. That's nuts.
That is, like, are you, Melissa? Are you dropping that like that
Francisco
dead ass like 1.5, 1.75 speed, like that double speed, like kind of stuff that your boy Francisco does? Because like, it sounds like that's a lot, because we've done too many hours of this show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's see, but I've gotten on podcasts like that though, where I'm like,
oh, absolutely.
but I've listened to your whole show, and it's like, oh, you gotta wait for next episode. I'm like, wait for
what?
Wait for what?
Huh? No,
Like,
no, just next.
Waiting? Like what does that word mean? All right, so she goes on. But the real reason I'm writing you today is to admit the error of my ways, and I should have listened to you. All I have to say is, Mr. Bucket.
Mr. Bucket.
Now,
No.
I read that, and it put a chill through me, bro. I was like,
I know. Ooh, goodness. It's been a while.
What with who?
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I nearly doubled over laughing so hard the first time the Mr. Bucket bit happened. I mean, laughing so hard I was crying and it hurt to breathe type of laughing.
Oh, that's so good.
I especially loved how over time it grew into mythos and power. I mean, it did, because he's an actual force.
Oh yeah.
Like we had no option. Like it was a thing where like I think that we tried to like go, let's talk about just some Danny more. And it's like, no, Mr. Bucket just forced his way.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yet the portion about him finding you if you don't rate and review, it was both hilarious and took me back to those late 90s chain letters. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Then it happened. Then today it happened. Here is my photo evidence. And she includes a picture of Mr. Bucket just on a desk.
Oh my Lord.
Just just a desk in a
just no. Turn around and walk away.
No,
Get out.
This is already feeling like an X-File. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, already. It's like, call Mulder and Scully. I need an old priest and young priest. You know what I'm saying? Like so I got to work today, and there he was sitting on the counter. I probably just stood there and stared at him for a solid minute because, no, this isn't real. This can't be happening. Seriously? This is slightly terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, ha ha ha. I need my phone. See, and that's how I know it's a genuine reaction, because like sometimes when you see Mr. Bucket in the wild like that, you're terrified, but you also start doing that Baxter, I'm evil as shit. Like that you're like, ha ha ha, I'm evil as shit. He starts going back and forth. Ha ha, ha, I'm terrified. Ha, ha, I want to die. Like it just starts like that's a natural reaction.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say I should have listened to you. I've rectified the error of my ways and have since rated the show. See,
well, thank you. Hopefully,
and
good.
Mysteriously, he just disappeared. I honest to goodness have no idea where he went.
That's wild. That is insane.
He left. We talked earlier on the show about like, look, early on, there was a sad time. It was, and it's our fault. It's preventable.
Always our fault.
When we first started talking about Mr. Bucket and trying to warn everybody, all the Turtletarians about Mr. Bucket, we said he's coming for your balls. Okay. We didn't clarify that the kind of like balls he's going after, women have those too.
Right.
But we kept saying, hey, fellas, watch out for your balls.
You might not want to Google that.
We had a lot of guys reviewing the show, rate and review, okay? But yeah, what you Google is your own. You know
that's true. But just saying.
But later on, I think that a lot of our lady listeners fell victim to Mr. Bucket because they thought they were safe. And we had to go back and revise that and be like, no, you don't understand. Like, it goes deeper than if you think, I'm talking about testicles. No, it's deeper than that.
No, it's deeper. It's
not.
Yeah.
Everyone's got some balls from Mr. Bucket to put in his top. You know what I'm saying? And we were slow to understand that and to get that word out.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Melissa understands. Like Melissa's like, nah, I don't get the update. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I won't fall victim to Mr. Bucket. You know what I mean? 'Cause he's looking for those balls. That's just think
about now. Think about all the people that haven't heard of Turtle Soup and have been fallen victim to Mr. Bucket. You know, like
I mean,
the new. I don't know. Do you remember the new Unsolved Mysteries? Do you remember when they rebrought that back? Yeah, they come to find out. You can Google this. This is true. That a lot of those mysteries, Bucket related. You'll see a Bucket shadow and some shadows of balls, like and the stuff where we're like, oh, this guy fell off a building. That no one thought anything about seeing the Bucket shadow on the side of the wall.
No.
Yeah, nobody thought about it.
Oh no, that's just a bucket that the maintenance man uses.
Precisely.
And it's like, no, that's Mr. Bucket. Like what normal maintenance man bucket has a face? But he didn't even think about that. He hides in plain sight.
It's true. Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's how he gets those balls. Frankly, I mean, like he's a camouflage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And I'll just say right now, I mean, just for the record, I mean, like, you know, this is just dark past. I'll pull the curtain back. About 5 years ago, Eric and I basically were just ready to quit the show.
Yeah.
But then we decided that we had to stay going because of the continual watch against Mr. Bucket. Like that's actually like.
Yeah,
that's what's
the
kept
main
us
thing.
together. You know what I'm saying? Like
shared trauma.
So she goes on. For all I know, this whole Mr. Bucket shtick isn't even a thing in the present 2022. Oh, it is. We just haven't talked about him in a long time because
what was it? 50 episodes ago? 80 episodes? 81 episodes ago?
We're trying to run from it. I mean, like I feel like we just gotta be transparent. The fact that like we're trying to like part of our move to YouTube was trying to like start a new start and kind of like. Maybe like leave some of that craziness behind because we got so deep with Mr. Bucket and Danny and all this stuff like that. And like, like we've been relatively Danny free this time and we've been like kind of Mr. Bucket free, but it doesn't mean that they're not always there. You know what I mean? That's the terrifying
past is destined
part. We've been lying
itself.
to ourselves. Exactly. So. But perhaps just a smidgen of that big Mr. Bucket energy has transcended time and space because I have a photo proof that he found me Liam Neeson style.
Oh.
Heed my warning, all ye Turtle Soup listeners. Mr. Bucket still roams the landscape in search of non-raters. You know what I'm saying?
He's out to look
anyway, thought you get a kick out of that. Thank you so much for the show. I'm reading along with you, and I'm finally reading portions of my Turtle comic collection I haven't even read before. Adventures.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh
man.
That's hot fire. I'm so excited you're reading Adventures. Everyone should read Adventures. I'm so hyped.
Absolutely.
As well as remembering how much portions of the early Mirage books were breathtaking. It's actually really nice to have a show I can laugh with about how insane this fandom is, while also celebrating what makes it so great. Thank you. I look forward to the next 100+ episode. Melissa Rivers. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. That email is great.
Yeah,
that email is so great that like I read it and I was like, Oh, I'm gonna write her back because I just know that like she might not hear this on the podcast for a little while, like
Yeah.
maybe a couple weeks, but like maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked down and there's already a set of footprints.
Already.
Because Erica just
Already.
responded
I
saying like
did.
that was just a really nice email and like thank you for that. Like
Mhm.
that was just really cool. So it made us both feel great. And
It
Melissa,
did.
we're so glad you're on the journey. And when you get up to present day, drop us a line and let us know that you arrived.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Let us know you got
don't
here
park
without
behind
Mr.
men
Bucket.
when you get
Yeah.
here. Yeah, don't park
so-
behind men, and yeah.
Goodness. That's a deep cut too. And if you have any Mr. Bucket related stories that have happened to you recently or any sightings or whatever, yeah, let us know. turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. And we want to hear all about it. So yeah, man, thank you so much, Melissa. And so Ryan, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we got
I gotta get
you gotta get stretched.
Get ready.
All right.
Yeah. All new, all different.
All different. Yeah, we're gonna try this.
Coming up.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
News.
Good evening, everyone. This is your boy Ryan Guy.
And this is Eric Crosby. And tonight's top story in Turtle News: Haulathon. NECA and Target's Super Collection event baby is coming together and going strong right now. This is the second week of this month or so long event that has been thrust upon us, and it is an online and in-store event. If you've not participated in it yet, and if you didn't know, that's what's actually happening right now. They kicked it off, like I said, last week, online and in stores, with special releases from across all of their properties, but arguably their most successful line, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line from NECA Toys. So among the releases were well, let me see if we can get that zoomed in real quick here. There we go. We got this photo from Second Time Around Toys and Comics. Thank you very much. They posted that some sightings of all of the toys and offerings from NECA's Turtle line and some other stuff as well. But the main feature for this first week or so was the re-release of the 4-pack of the Turtles and their what they're calling their style guide colors, as well as some extra accessories and a lot of stuff from the 1987 animated series. Along with that, they have a really neat reissue of the Muckman and Joe Eyeball figures that have already come out, except this time they are in glow-in-the-dark paint, I guess, or plastic, probably just molded in that plastic. But that gimmick is there, and you can get that, and that is really exciting. But the big takeaway from all of this that everyone's talking about, everyone's excited about, is this is NECA's return to what started this whole Turtle line off, the Mirage-inspired figures, and we're getting it kicked off with Fugitoid. Now, we've talked a lot about Fugitoid here on Turtle Soup News, and this is like something we've seen before. You know, this is nothing new. However, the newest development is that we now have, for those of us who still haven't received it and found it in the wild, we have photos of the actual box art. And this box art is special. If you're wondering what's box art, why are you getting excited about box art? Well, this box art is special because not only is this action figure based on the actual original creators, like, you know, what they intended, the comic book art, the artist himself, Kevin Eastman, designed and drew all of the illustrations on this box art, which makes it also a collectible to go along with the figure. And he will be making, from what we understand, from what we're being told, is that he will continue to do this throughout the line of these comic inspired figures. Now, there are two versions of this figure, one as a standard figure at $33, and then a signature edition, which includes a hand-signed card by Kevin Eastman. And that will be, let me see, I believe that's, I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly, $100. So you get the action figure, the box, and then you get a signed card for $100. Now, that is currently what is available officially for Holothon right now. But what they just announced, fresh off the presses, was that they are going to continue with the the animated series line with Toka and Razor. Now, these two characters first made their first appearance in the second Turtles feature film, Secret of the Ooze, where they were just babies, and arguably they still are here. However, in the animated series, they only had one real appearance, or actually one appearance at all, and that was in season 7 of season 7 episode entitled "Dirk Savage, Mutant Hunter," and that episode was very wild. A lot of crazy stuff happened in that episode, and among them was their appearance here, because we didn't think we'd see them in the animated series, and then lo and behold, there they are, and now here they are in plastic form. Now, I believe we have a shot of Toka in the animated series, how he appears, and if you're wondering if that is just a table full of food, you are absolutely correct. That is a table full of food, and if you think that detail was missed by NECA, you are sorely mistaken and do not know NECA as well as you might think, because of course, among all of the accessories that they put in here, they have a smorgasbord of edibles here for Toka and Razor just to dig into. And yeah, this is really neat. So this set is going to be fun, even if you just get it for the accessories. So that's really cool. That's supposed to be coming out, I believe, tomorrow. And with that being revealed, that is the last, I think, official reveal of Holothon so far. However, there have been reports of sightings and people purchasing the Super Bebop and Mighty Rocksteady sets that we've reviewed here on the news channel in previous episodes. And so you can keep your eyes out for that. And keep your eyes peeled onto Target's website, where you can order these online and be involved with all of the fun Holothon experience and joys of this event that's going on. And undoubtedly, Ryan, I just want to say, having Kevin Eastman a part of the line is fantastic. Having him a part of this,
totally,
this thing is so good. I mean, it's great. However, the signed card, is that worth the extra $67 markup, Ryan? What's your take on this?
So I think that really, and I hope this comes across and makes sense, that I think that it's worth it if it's worth it to you, right? Like, okay. I think that like your budget and your kind of like your disposable income that you can kind of shell out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Shell out on some figures. I think that if you have that, then sure, right? Mm-hmm. It's $67, and given the base price, I mean that's now triple. You're tripling down,
right?
However, like that like if Fugitoid's ever re-released again, that it probably won't have this deluxe edition going on with it. I think if you have it and want it, I think it's a nice reach out to the Mirage centric fan base. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're probably not buying this if you're not about that honeycut life. Like, if you're not like, if you don't care, like if you're just like, no, hey, it's another NECA figure, I'm trying to get them all.
Right.
I would be very interested to see if any word comes out about how well these move, because I'm very curious about you isolate the price being $67 higher for just that signed card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think time will tell, but I think if you have that disposable income and you want that upgrade, I think it's reasonable. I'd be very curious to see what the market says about that, though.
Oh, absolutely.
But one thing I'm curious about here with this is, like, we've had issues with like scalping in the past, right? Like, do you think that there's going to be like kind of any issues with scalpers with this like event?
Yeah,
like,
there's
people buying things up, people trying to shift them on the second market, stuff like that.
Undoubtedly, there probably will be some effect of scalper stuff happening. It's just natural. Unfortunately, at this point, it's just part of the beast. But so far, NECA's seem to like have totally redeemed themselves on their online store and the 2-week pre-order windows and stuff like that. And so much so that I've seen like just tons of turtle product on the shelves. for like weeks and weeks and weeks. Where like before that, it was nothing. You know, you had to be there right when it came out, or else you didn't get it. So thankfully, the line's moved along enough to where we've seen either reissues, which is reassuring, obviously, but at the same time, I believe I was able to purchase Fugitoid. I haven't received him in the mail yet, but I was able to go on last Friday and get Fugitoid like without any issue whenever he first appeared on the Target's website.
I think you went for the standard. You went for the standard one, not the
went for the standard
edition.
Because here at Turtle Soup News, Channel 6 to Midnight News, we sometimes our pay gets docked, just like April's did in the 87 series. So I have to
Absolutely.
I have to temper some of my collection, and but also to save some time and money for other things we'll talk about later. But real quick, just right off the dome, Ryan, I want to know, glow in the dark, is it the new black? What's your take on glow in the dark?
I love. Okay, so I can say this: that glow in the dark technology, I think, is definitely stepped up a notch since we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like glow in the dark in the '80s, it felt like it was very inconsistent. You either had like good glow in the dark, where you'd be like, "Bro, I charged this boy up," or the best one was when you charged it when it was that really good stuff, and it just charged ambiently because your lights were on.
Yeah.
And the minute you turned your lights off, that boy was glowing for like whatever it was. Like whether you had stars on your ceiling that were glow in the dark, or you had toys that were glow in the dark, or whatever you had. Like a skateboard, shoes had elements of that.
Yeah.
The best stuff kept that charge for a hot minute.
Right.
But I can tell you that most glow in the dark I've seen recently, it seems like it's all up to that level.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say that to me where it ranks. Now the all time, the king of the castle, the top
goat
of the pyramid. For me and your boy Eric, if I might speak for you here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that vac metal. You know what I mean? Like you and I have a lot going into vac metal, but I can say this: that if those figures charge up right, and if something about the painting or the manufacturing process doesn't like hinder its ability to charge easy and keep a charge, if it keeps a good charge, that's gonna jump vac metal for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think that that's a huge deal. I
have
a guitar pedal I bought. Okay, it's an Amazon Basics distortion pedal, which is hilarious. It's a $20. But it got all the gear guys I watched, they're like, this pedal rips like Amazon Basics. Well, I get it, and I just put it on the pedal board and I don't really notice it. It's small. Turn the lights off, Eric. It has glow in the dark indicators on the knobs.
That's amazing.
Glow in the dark paint.
Oh, that's
and
so
I'm
good.
like, what? And and all of a sudden the value of that pedal jumped from like, it's a pretty good sounding pedal with a funny story. Amazon Basics distortion. That's just funny itself.
Right.
But that glow in the dark indicators on the knobs, that got me 6 to midnight.
Oh, 6 to midnight.
Then back around to 6 and then back up to midnight again. You know what I mean? I just went like, it was like
ooh, it's like a propeller.
Around the clock is what it looked like. Yeah.
Rock around the clock.
I can say, so that's just to say that like glow in the dark, it's a gimmick, right? It doesn't have to be.
It is.
But if it charges well, then it can really be an asset. And I think I am almost dying to know in hand, like customer experience, like what are we going to see out of that? Because if it holds a good charge and it should, like if it's solid, I mean, I'd be curious to see. But that's kind of where it ranks for me. It can be the best if it's done right.
Absolutely. And I mean, and speaking of gimmicks, Ryan, I think we got some other stuff to talk about.
We do. So in action figure news from across the aisle, getting away from NECA, we have the Loyal Subjects BTS AXN line. This is a 1/15 scale line, or 5-inch scale action figures. That are getting a really interesting Walmart exclusive, which is kind of fun. So multiple sites are reporting that Walmart will have a re-release of the TMNT figures previously seen in the 4-pack black and white set, but now they'll have green skin and all red bandanas like that you see like in Mirage, right? So one thing that I thought about when I was looking at the story was like, well, one real problem that could happen if you've got 4 turtles, they're green, and they're all having green or having the red bandanas, is like, how do you convince your annoying friend that you just don't own 4 Raphaels? You know what I'm saying? Like, because that could be a real thing. Well, don't worry, because this boy comes packed in with an IDW published 100-page best of comic showcasing each turtle. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have a bunch of little turtle stories. And just on screen we can see there's Leonardo. I love the cover design. Frankly, it's very like streamlined and basic. I love that, like, the color of the bandana kind of dominates the color of the cover, and I think that's really cool, especially when you're moving into dealing with all red bandana turtles. But that's really exciting because previously they were just black and white, and now you've got green with red bandana options, which is gonna. The theme feels like we're this is like a lot of Mirage love happening across the lines. So along with the bundled comic, you'll also receive interchangeable heads and hands, as well as weapon accessories. And I'm very excited, Eric, to ask you:
Yeah.
are you picking these bad boys up? Are these on? Are these on the list? Are they in the Witch's Brew? You know what I'm saying? Like is
All right.
is that
Am I
on
into
your
them?
table of ingredients? There's frog eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that used to fly, but they're dead now. And then is this on your list or what?
Ooh. They are on my very interested list, but unfortunately, given the line's history with having a wide, awesome selection of figures, unfortunately, at the 1/15th scale, it's just the detail's not really there for me, and it's just not really my thing. I can't put a Thundercat on it, basically. So won't hold a Thundercat.
I feel that 5 inch is not your scale. I hate to
It's
say
not
it.
my scale,
Like,
and
that's-
yeah. So I unfortunately will not be picking these up. I have seen them in store, and they do look better in person. However, it's with so many other avenues for TMNT, toy fans to choose from. This is one, if you don't have the $30 or whatever to get NECA or Super 7 or whatever, this is a lower price point as well. So it's amazing what happens when you shave 2 inches off of anything. It's like, you get, cheaper, deals.
sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, of course. So, but I'm really excited about the comic book aspect of it. I really think that's really neat, and I'm curious if that's going to be bringing any new readers in that, kids can't afford the NECA, so they get the loyal subjects, and there's a comic in there and they start reading it, and that gets them in, and that's obviously the goal, I imagine.
Pretty huge, especially given that it's IDW work.
Right.
I'm like, that's hot fire. Like I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Like that's the best part to me.
Right.
It's the fact that you can get these in the hands of a new generation, which
Absolutely.
IDW should just be lauded for what it is. So just get that in the hands of more people and it'll all work.
Well, let me see. Real quick though, before we move on, I want to see if we can go. Yeah. Can we go back to the other? Let me see if I can get this going again. So real quick, I wanted to talk about the back of the box real quick. They can you still hear me, Ryan? I just want to make sure we didn't break through.
Yeah.
Okay. You're still here loud and clear. Okay. You can see our on the screen here, everyone. From everyone who's watching, we're looking at the back of the box, and it says on the back here, Ryan. It says, "Get in the pit and play." I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's a reference to. Is there anything, do you have anything fresh off the dome for that? What that could possibly mean? Get in the pit and play?
I did. I served my time in my late teens and through my mid 20s in the punk rock scene, where I in Little Brandon, Florida, where I live, and Get in the pit and play really was our equivalent of the Fight Club rules. Specifically, if it's your first night, you have to fight.
Right.
We just be like, get in the pit and play, and then we just run in, and that's how it started.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know if they're referencing that.
Yeah.
It is a very arcane, strange phrase to have on the box, especially because it looks hand scrawled.
It does.
I don't know if that's a line from IDW or something that we don't know because we haven't read all of IDW.
Right.
I also don't know if potentially that's not lines that, if there is original content in those books, let's say if there's like a story in each of the books that they share, like I can see the opening story being the same in each book. It's a
Right.
story about all four turtles. That could be a line that's said in those comics. That could be a tie-in to something we don't know about.
Right. So
That's my impression of it.
okay, well, thanks. Yeah, because I had no idea, but I was like, that's just seems strange, and I have yet to to see if where that was coming from. But if you know, be sure to email us turtlesoupshow@gmail.com or leave a comment below.
Yeah.
And we'll be sure to get to that. But now rounding up the action figure news this week, we have a special report that was brought to our attention from our Frozen Northern correspondent, M. Wilson. They posted on our Facebook group about a possible plastic imposter paddling their way potentially to our shelves, Ryan. And this
alliteration, let's go.
So this action figure made its appearance recently with a as a surprise contender for that coveted spot on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shelves across the world for that good old Jess Harley, aka Leatherhead, whenever Big Bad Toy Store listed it for pre-order, and that is a Wilderness Hunter Crocker is what we have here, and this bad boy looks wild. So like I remember I got every day I check Big Bad Toy Store and I always refresh the pre-order pages, and this thing popped up and I was like, oh, okay. And so we had to do some digging, and then like I said, M mentioned it, so we did a little bit of digging. Now this is made by a company called Maestro Union for their it's Furay, I think it's pronounced Furay Planet, like Furay Planet, that's the series. And this character is named Crocker, and he will stand at 7.6 inches tall, which is 19.5 centimeters for those of you who do that. And it'll have 28 points of articulation. And yeah, this thing just looks massive. If you're only listening to us on audio, you need to be able to check out the images or come check it out on YouTube, because this is wonderful to look at. Yeah, he is also going to come in two forms. He's got one form that's just jeans and some shackles, where he looks like Killer Croc, like he could pass for like a Killer Croc Batman villain style. And then he also, more to our own taste, he comes with a leather jacket, a hat, a gun, and a bunch of other accessories that make him look as if he had if Mary Bones had used the turnstone on him and turned him into good old Jess Harley, as seen here. And this thing, the more and more I looked at it, I'm sorry, I'm being informed we do have photos of the other form of him. So there he is, seen with out the jacket and looking very much more like Killer Croc-esque, just massive and imposing. Yeah, this thing is beautiful, and there's some diagrams of, like, he's 19 centimeters tall, 16 centimeters wide, and 23 centimeters long with the tail. And yeah, got all kinds of joints and movable points of articulation. This thing is glorious. And now I believe this is the first offering from Maestro Union. And according to the press release, this is going to be a part of a series, or like a line of figures that they're going to be doing in this style, based on animals and whatnot. And I'm assuming they're going to have other animals that they can throw accessories in to appropriate them for whatever you have on your shelf. And yeah, like I said, Crocker is currently up for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store for 90 bones, with an estimated release date of July 2022, which is right around the corner, and will be here before you know it. So, Ryan, what do you think about this? What's your thoughts on Crocker here?
I mean, don't you mean Pleatherhead?
Oh, my saying? Goodness, Pleatherhead. Yes,
that's the name that's been going around.
That's so good.
Big fan. So I'll say this, a couple things. So Maestro Union is a just new company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have backers. Sometimes you have companies that kind of spread out and they make a new company, but they're not really new. Every indication I've gotten from just a little bit of research is that they're just like new on the block.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the gap they're hoping to fill, which is high end versions of these characters. I think number one, I'm a huge fan. I think the sculpt is gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
The paint job, if you've got 80% of that in hand, that is awesome. And I love the fact that he can go as Killer Croc or Leatherhead. I think that that's really, really smart.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
So longtime listeners of the show will kind of know that one of my big hobbies is miniature wargaming and miniature painting. There are I play a game called Warhammer 40K, and there are what they call kind of like agnostic miniatures companies that have been doing this in miniatures for a very, very long time. So I'm very familiar with it.
Oh, okay.
Where they will take a character from the game or something, and they make kind of a pleatherhead kind of take at it, where it's like, you know who this is.
Right.
And they'll
right.
name it something like Dark Lord. And you're like, oh, I know who he is.
Right.
But they up that game.
Yeah.
You're talking about epic scale stuff that is it's a piece of art to start
That's
with.
what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And
yeah,
when you have it
and this
yeah, when you have it this size, like if you have a problem realizing how big 7 inches is,
oh, there he goes.
Sorry. So this is
yeah.
Can y'all see this? All right. So yeah. So that's about 7 inches. So he's about a good 2. Oh, sorry. Gotta get back on the mic. He's about 2 inches taller than your normal NECA figure, and yeah.
So. Yeah, and here's the big. Geez. I don't know if I can recover from that. So the big thing about him though is if you go back to the graphic, can you go back to the last graphic of him?
I can.
Where it has dimensions.
Yes, I can.
It'll cover me up, but I don't care. Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Yay, new formatting. The thing that I'm geeked out at is 19 centimeters tall. Yeah, cool. I'm not European, but I can tell you that he's 16 centimeters wide. Think about that. That's the part that's got me excited. He's a bulky dude.
Mm-hmm.
He is just almost not a square. So imagine for every height, no dead ass, imagine for every height you get, every inch on him, he's mostly that wide as well.
Right.
So he's going to be a bulky kid. And he's 23 centimeters from nose to tail. So he's going to roughly be a cube. Like a 7.5 inch cube of space he's going to take up.
Yeah, he's going to take up some space.
That's got me hype on that epic scale. So I've seen this in the miniatures game for a long time now, and a lot of these manufacturers that make these are highly lauded, and like I said, it's art. So I love that this is like, if Maestro Union is entering the game to do this, I'm highly excited.
Absolutely.
Now the $90 price point, like that's obviously more than you're looking to spend usually, right, on an action figure.
Yeah.
But what I can say is, I mean, you see the same thing in miniatures. They give you the big epic sculpt. You're going to pay more than you'd buy it, say, in the normal model, right? Like what would be a third the price. And you're seeing that here. What you're getting is a lot more. So it's a new company. I think it remains to be seen, like, what does he look like in hand? What is the plastic quality? How is the lifetime on him? These are all things that with a new company are unknown. So we're gonna have to be watching like Maestro Union and these other, like, you know, Furry.
I think it's like furry,
series
like almost like furry. Like I think there's something in there, but I could be wrong.
There's something
there, but like, but yeah, to your point,
it just looks like an insult to Ray Romano when you really look at it. Like, just F you, Ray.
It does, but everyone loves Ray. But no, to your point,
sure.
I think this is Ryan. This is the kind of figure that makes your mouth water. This is the kind of stuff
absolutely
that you see that, like, this is like that high end thing that you could probably afford if you like make some wiggle room, have some conversations with your significant other, and make some adjustments. You can have this, and it's glorious because at that price point, generally they're putting in the effort that you're not going to get a lot of times at some big box stores. Now, and then having said that, you can't have too many massive anthropomorphic like figures in this scale
Yeah.
on your shelf, because you can use them for anything, any kind of diorama scenes, anything you're wanting to use. As evidenced here, you can use this with a couple accessories or even without them for Batman, Spider-Man, the Turtles, all this stuff. So it's really
Well, he's gonna fit if he's 7.6 inches tall.
yeah.
Basically 7.7. All right, so he's damn near 7 3/4 inches tall. Do you know how good he's gonna look next to like the NECA Turtles?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
At their scale, he's gonna look appropriate.
He is,
because in the comics, in his first premiere in Tales, that's about the size ratio. He's big.
Yeah.
Like he dwarfs a turtle. He's not like 8 times the size of a turtle, but he's there.
Oh yeah.
I'm super excited. I'm and I guess my last question is to the audience. Are you guys excited? Like how's your haulathon been? You know what I'm saying? We want to hear about it. Who's getting that signature card version of Fugitoid? I want to know that. Like if, I want to hear you guys weigh in on kind of like, do you think that's worth it? Do you think that's just a gimmick? What is it? Are you into glow in the dark? You know what I'm saying? All these questions. Like, if you are interested in this stuff, if you want to pick it up or whatever, or you have some questions, let us know. You can let us know at turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. And that's about it. So for everybody here at Turtle Soup, 6 to midnight news, good evening and good night.
And we're back.
Woo. I don't know why I couldn't just say else time. I should have just said else time.
No. I think that we need to come up with another side. Yeah, we're working on it. Because I always felt weird saying else time in the other news segments that we've done. It just felt not right. And because else time is like definitive. It's like, just it's like the hammer.
That's what it is.
And yeah. Did I get you with that? Did I get you with the measuring tape?
No, you got me with the tape measure gag was pretty goddamn.
Okay,
awesome.
Good.
Brad was laughing at it in the background.
Oh, nice.
Like he was laughing. I was laughing. It was
okay, good. My other option before we move on was I had ran this by my wife first, and she's like, "That's good," and I was like, "The other thing I can do is I could just say, if you're not familiar what 7 inches is, just see below," and I was like, "Oh, that's a real classy, just real quick, just."
That's a classy way to do it. That's good.
But the Holy Spirit just told me to just use the measuring tape. It's right there. Just go ahead and do it. Now, don't ask me why I have a measuring tape right here.
Checking in with the socials, man. The people are all over this. God. There's so much happening in chat. I need a second.
Okay.
So let's see. So catching back, there's so much. Oh my God. Geez. Okay. So I'm just gonna pick a spot and start. Let's see. So we've got So Spaded One Medicinary says, just got home from scoring my Super Bebop and Mighty Rocksteady set and the Rat King set I've been needing. Walking on clouds right about now, boys.
That's awesome. Still gotta get that Bebop and Rocksteady.
John Klein wants to know, how old is Danny's baby now? Oh, you mean Mr. Bucket's baby that he stole?
Oh, that's right.
That was like seriously over 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh goodness, you're right. That's nuts. A lot's happened since
Let's see. Em says 6 to midnight news could go one of two ways: either sweatpants and a tee, or dinner jackets, or both.
Yeah.
Half
and half.
Doing a switch out, doing like a full like tuxedo, like at least a blazer jacket switch out for 6 to midnight would be hot fire.
Oh, that would.
Just have that on the back of the chair. Like, especially if we could find, like, go to, like, Goodwill or something and find some, like, super old man looking ones that are, like the plaid, like, or the striped, like, the vertical or, like, horizontal, like, the hatching ones.
Right.
They were, like, in the 70s. If we could have that on.
That'd be great.
And have some fake glasses. That'd be hot fire.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see. Francisco, responding to Melissa's email, says, I had to pause for a moment and now catching up at 2 times speed on the podcast. You can do it, Melissa.
Yeah.
Get your heart out in these epic shows. And yeah, there's a lot. Jason Eastwater says, Toka has that Homer Simpson 5 o'clock shadow going on.
He did. He totally did.
Which is word up. A lot of hype for these figures, man. It's so much. You guys are like killing chat. I love it. Let's see. Francisco says, I still prefer black light over glow in the dark.
Oh,
as a gimmick. That's pretty cool. Like black light reactive. That's teched.
He also says,
especially if you get those black lights in that display case.
"Oh,
then it's always on.
Oh, yeah,
You know
then
what
it's
I'm saying?
Oh,
That's
definitely.
hot.
Oh, absolutely." Francisco also says Tacobus in bed is the worst, and that's in reference to the ticker below. So, which we'll talk about. That's coming up. So, but thank you, Francisco, for answering that.
Let's see. And then everyone loved your tape measure skit, which I like I said, I couldn't get enough of it. And Wilson says he's selling all of his 40K stuff to get a 3D printer and start hustling.
Ooh, do it.
That's been a big thing. People have been 3D printing that 40K stuff, and it is like it's a whole debate topic.
That's wild.
But yeah, guys, let us know what you thought about the new thing. I know we still got knock some of the rest off. I thought it went pretty well though.
I enjoyed the hell out of that
new segment.
Like
formatting.
that was
it
really
felt good
nice.
to just like kick back and like let you go.
It was
and
scary
just
though.
Know that I could go.
Yeah.
Like, and that we're not going to interrupt each other.
Yeah.
Like that felt automatically. That felt 100 times better. So
it did.
I'm excited.
But like, as you know, like being a professional podcaster for almost 10 years as myself.
Of course. Yes.
Like when you kind of can get into autopilot and you're just like, your mouth is moving, but you're thinking ahead. And it's like, I feel like some like champion chess player when I successfully stick a landing or a joke.
They call that seeing around corners. You know what I'm saying? And so as you get in that zone, I got in that zone through that whole segment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we'll talk about that, me and you. We'll have our own little
we'll get
meeting,
into that.
But yeah, let us know what you guys thought of the new thing, things we could tighten up, whatever, because we want to make this new segment as good as possible. All right, so we're gonna jump into this comic. You know what I'm saying? If you're good, Eric, if you're ready to mingle.
I'm ready.
Well, that's kind of cool. I just got an ad on my phone.
Oh.
As a push from Apple.
At least
they crossed the line there that I need to think about. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
It is Image Volume 3, everybody. It is issue number 7. This is from February of 1997. We're here, boys. And we are doing this comic. What do you think about this cover just off the bat? How is this not the best cover we've seen so far?
Yes.
Explain to me how it's not.
Absolutely. Ryan, this is...
just tell me how much you love it. Yeah, there you
go. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you how much I love it. Because this cover right here is just everything you want as a Turtles fan, like in my opinion. Like, or it's on the list, if you will. You know, Raphael, front and center, claws out, or size out, looking like Wolverine.
Yeah.
Casey mask on, looking like badass, and flanked by, is that still flanked? I would say that's flanked, right? Flanked by the foot soldiers.
Not particularly. He's leading them. He's not really flanked by.
That's true. I didn't feel right, but nevertheless, surrounded. Well, leading the pack ahead of the game. Foot soldiers behind him,
trailed by. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
trailed by.
Just
Panoply.
Yeah, a panoply of foot soldiers, absolutely, and stark red background. Just that white masthead or title, and then the faintest Image logo in the top left corner.
The Image eye. Oh yeah.
This cover was glorious. Oh, he's even got a front tail as well in here. I forgot.
Absolutely.
I totally missed that. Front and center. This is one of the only Urban Legends single issues that I bought, because I just think it's so stark. And anytime, because a lot of my single issues, when I'm not trying to perpetually move houses, I would have individual floppy issues framed.
Yeah.
And this is one that's going to get people talking. Like, this is one that people are going to be like,
absolutely,
that's Raphael. Why is he wearing Casey's mask? And why are the foot soldiers behind him? And that's like a whole other conversation starter. And I love that. And it's just so good. And it's so well done. And if I'm not mistaken, this is our first look at the foot in this series in volume 3.
Absolutely.
And they look pretty menacing. So yeah. What do you think about it?
I mean, I'm starting to ask myself, at what point do we just not keep being surprised?
That's true.
As this comic keeps rolling progressively, every cover is better than the last.
Yeah.
And they're all jump off the newsstand. They're all beautifully graphically laid out.
Yeah.
And they just keep doing it. So there's every time I see the next cover, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So there's more of that awesome stuff. Cause they've got it on lock right now. I really want to like just take a second and be like, we're here. Like,
yeah.
Everything, every fear you may have had, I'm putting myself in the character of like, we're like reading along. You know what I'm saying? Like we're like, oh, this new Image, I don't even know, man, because like I'm that Mirage boy, but like I love that Adventures 2, and like, but man, like I really hated how Mirage 2 ended, dude. Like I seriously wanted to like stop reading Turtles altogether. Oh, now it's Image. Oh yeah. Well, not your daddy's Turtles. Oh, the Turtles are grown up now. Cool. So that means X titties. Great. Like all the fears you may have had about Image, and especially after body count.
Right.
Very important to say.
Yeah.
Because body count may, if that wasn't your style, we have many Turtletarians who are like, oh, that body count, that's my jams.
Yeah.
And I respect that so much.
That's true.
And in a way, as a piece of comic history and a way of documenting that, I mean, it's my jams too. But you fear the loss of any kind of heart. You feel all of the every single little pouch and every single Rob Liefeld no feet of it all is going to show up in your Turtles comic, and all of a sudden, like Raphael's going to have a gun that's bigger than him, and you're going to fall down the drain. And right now, we just need to recognize that, like, if we're reading this as Turtle fans in real time, we're going, oh my god, like I'm back to wanting to pick up every single issue of this the day it comes out.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
And covers like this just reinforce that promise of the premise. And they just tell you another one. Like, you see how great this cover is? Another story, another one. And I'll just tell you, spoiler alert, this comic doesn't disappoint as far as like keeping that up. So I love the cover, and I think it's just begun. It's really indicative of the golden age of Image we're seeing right now, which is just awesome. So
absolutely.
As far as credits go, this story is by Gary Carlson. Art is by Frank Fosco. Inks by Andrew Papoy. Letters, Chris Eliopoulos, and your series editor was Eric Larson, with Josh Eichhorn on the assist. You know what I'm saying? So let's see here. So we open up, and just to give once again the same old story about this. So basically, guys, we're going back just only so far, because you got to go back and listen to these episodes where we review these, because a lot goes down and whatever. But where we left off last time was that things had settled down. Splinter's on the run. Splinter turned into a bat. You know what I'm saying? It happened to him.
He did.
He's flip-flopping away. No one knows where he is. The Turtles are trying to come to grips with the fact that Donnie's half cyborg. And Donnie's like putting a plasma gun up to his head and pulling the trigger and going, awesome, when it doesn't go off. And they're like, what are you doing? There's a lot of things happening right now. And this is a bit of a denouement in the story. Okay. You have your first big arc, which is that struggle, and you see what's happened, and they're in this like cleanup phase, but they've ignited another problem, another conflict in the story. So while everyone's just kind of relaxed and trying to figure out, and like the prevailing theory from the Turtles right now is that Splinter will come to his senses and fly back or walk back to the lair, because they have no idea where to even start looking for him.
Right.
They just don't. Mikey, Casey and April appear in the comic last issue, and it's awesome. Casey recently got a promotion at work, and Casey is going to a party to celebrate that. April's going out with him. Mikey drops by to babysit Shadow, their daughter, and everything's fine until at the end of the comic, Shadow sees the door open. So the door to Casey's apartment just opens, and she's like, "Oh, Mom and Dad," and she looks up like, "What?" And then all of a sudden she's gone, right? And that's where we leave off. Is she just gets kidnapped straight up? Right. So the opening panel of this comic is just awesome, with Michelangelo holding Shadow's doll, just peering out into the city,
which was the last thing that she was holding. Yeah,
and then that was left on the ground. Right. She was holding it, and then she gets snatched away. It's like silently, like Ninja Vanish style. And there's just this doll on the ground. So you have Casey, or you have Mikey kind of already getting worried about that. And then we check in with the rest of the Turtles who are running around. And honestly, like, you see the different kind of personalities of the Turtles coming out here. Donnie's trying to make him feel better, and he's like using his like special little digital eye to like look through things and trying to like look around to see if the kid's anywhere. And Mikey's feeling bad. He's like, she didn't just wander off anywhere, Don. My door was locked too. And he's like, what are you saying? She got kidnapped? Like, for real, dude. You just forgot to lock the door and she just walked away. nobody blames you, man. It's just an accident. And then you have Raph jump in the scene, and he's like, "Yeah, there's no sign. Nice going, Mary Poppins. Some babysitter you are, outwitted by the baby." And he laughs.
Yeah.
And like Raph
That's
is just
brutal.
another. He's a whole nother guy in this deal because he keeps on him. He's like, she probably ran away so you couldn't read her any more of your stupid stories you write. And I'm like,
Dang.
bro,
Yeah, that's
that
rough.
is like actually like almost like just more brutal than you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. And he's really keeping it. I think Raph's trying to like do his classic like gallows humor funny thing, but
Yeah.
it's really dark, especially because like of where Mikey is. Mikey's like destroyed. Like,
Right.
You've been reading these comics, that like Mikey and Shadow have like really like shared a unique bond.
Yeah.
Like since
totally.
since the end of Volume 1, right?
Mhm.
Since like City at War.
Yeah.
So it's harsh.
It is. I was thinking real quick. I was thinking that about how harsh he is. I wonder if that has anything to do with him. You know how Raph is the more violent one, the more aggressive one, and I wonder if he is kind of like using that, like the way he's being here, as a means to like, if there's something tethered to that he's also aggressive in how he like treats you verbally and like how he talks to you. And knowing that Michelangelo is really good at like joking. So like Raph is like, okay, I'm going to spar with you this way and I'm going to like really hit you with these hard things. I wonder if there's something there that I'd never thought about that way before until you were just describing it and talking about it. That just kind of clicked with me. And I'm like, that's an interesting take on his character. That's why he's a little like that. Like he's trying to meet somebody else. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it.
No. I can see that. I think that another thing he's trying to do is he just doesn't believe that she was kidnapped.
Oh,
like
that's
the
true
other
too.
thing
Yeah.
you see him say. It's
Right.
like, what an overactive imagination. Like, so I think he's like, first of all, she wasn't kidnapped, so you're freaking out for no reason. I'll use this opportunity to make fun of you.
Right.
But it still is a little insensitive knowing that, like, obviously, like, while the child's missing, Michelangelo is like not okay. You know what I mean? But I think they're definitely they rub each other raw a little more, and you get that feeling in Image, and especially from Raph. Raph just says the inappropriate thing, like in this series, and he's doing it again.
Right.
So they find Leo, and they're kind of like, Leo, man, like we got nothing. Like, what are you guys like? Nah, dog. I hit the jackpot because I just remembered Charlie the homeless guy.
Charlie
So we're gonna run and go see Charlie the homeless guy. Now, the reason that like Charlie the homeless guy is an important character here is because Shadow apparently fell in love with a box that was in Casey and April's apartment. It was, I think, the refrigerator, no, the stove box. And this is like such an actual kid thing.
I love it.
She fell in love with the box. It was all about it. But they had to get rid of it. So, Charlie outside, like, they gave it to Charlie because, like, he's homeless and wants a nice new box. And here you go.
Yeah.
And Shadow, they don't really imply, that it says Shadow was ticked off when April gave the box. The new stove came in to Charlie instead of letting her keep it. But, like, it's a kid. She probably forgot about it later. But she does, like, she does like that box.
Yeah.
So they think, oh, maybe she ran and she went and got in that box.
That makes sense.
My kids are 11 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
And we recently got boxes in that were really big. And my 9-year-old promptly sat in it and called it her little place and started playing games. And then we got a bigger box that August got into. The problem is this box is so tall that he could close it and he was just totally in it.
Oh, wow.
And those two boxes were in my living room until my family went out of town and Brad and I were like, okay, boxes in the garage.
Right.
They lived in them for about a week.
Well, why do you think
that's
that
11
is?
and 9? That's not even a toddler. Like,
yeah, that's not a toddler. That's almost an adult. Like, why do you think that is? Like, cats are a lot the same way. You put a box down and you turn around, a cat's in it already. Even if you don't own a cat, like, you will see a cat in a box, an empty box. And there's something about it. And I think for the cats, it's security. Like, they know that, like, they can fill it out, but they also know that there's nothing's going to be able to get to me except for one way in this scenario. But with kids, like, I remember being into boxes, like loving, that I could get into. I remember that whole thing, but I don't know why.
I think it's an ultimate vessel. Well, it's ultimate vessel for imagination. A
true.
box can be a rocket ship. A box can be a car. A box can be your little house.
Yeah.
A box can be like a fort against some danger. It's awesome.
Possibilities
like super
are endless.
awesome.
Right.
and that's something that toys don't give you. It's a classic. Oh, I got my kid this toy, but he loves the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because like toys are toys, man. Like, but a box, like it's possibilities are endless,
Yeah.
right? So turns out though, when they go to check on Charlie the homeless guy in the box, Leo busts out with Charlie won't be playing anymore.
What the hell?
And
Leo.
that's just him in a yep. Like some of Raph's like gallows humor must have spread. Like the blood coming out of Charlie the homeless guy's brand new stove box.
Right.
Yeah, it turns out it's not like because they're wondering, hey, is that blood? And Leo's like, yeah, but it's not Shadow's. Somebody just killed Charlie.
Yeah.
And then they notice that he was killed with a sigh.
Ooh.
And that makes Raphael sigh. Guys, It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I like Charlie. But Donnie starts to get the picture of like, well, then maybe he saw something he shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's dead.
Right.
And that leads to things being a little weird. So then that gets Raph over on the, okay, cool. She was kidnapped. Now I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone killed Charlie. So yeah. And he starts to suspect a ninja. And that's when the stuff with the Foot Clan comes in, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're trying to figure out who could be those ninja that doing that.
Yeah.
And turns out the Kanuchi, they were all killed.
Yeah.
By Donnie's gun. And they're that
Pamiko,
isn't a thing.
Yeah, and Pamiko is probably something, she's doing whatever she's doing. So
they don't buy that it was Pamiko because she always makes a big grandstand out of it all.
Right.
Honestly, when she does it, she just barges in and does it and wants you to know she's doing it. Right. But you never talk about other ninjas hanging around the city. New
York's pretty big.
And all of a sudden, someone's like, "What about that Foot Clan?"
Mm-hmm.
And Raph's like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Because to fill you in, if you didn't read these issues, back in City at War, at the very end, the Turtles kind of formed a truce with Karai, who is also Shredder's daughter, and also a leader of the Foot Clan.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they teamed up against the Purple Dragons, more or less. I mean, and they left it with a kind of a treaty in place. They don't mess with the Foot Clan. Foot Clan doesn't mess with them.
Hold up.
Doesn't.
Hold up. You got all crackly on me. You sound like a robot.
Do I still sound like a robot?
You totally still sound like a robot. Do you hear me okay?
So do you.
Oh, I sound like a robot too? Great.
Yeah, really bad.
So I don't know. I don't know what this is. I don't have any errors. Let me write this down real quick.
So back to our comic, wherever I left off, because now I'm all screwed up on that. But yeah. So effectively, what happens is they start bringing up the Foot Clan, and Raph's like, "Look, we have that truce. You know what I'm saying? We have this truce going back to the end of City at War. They made a truce with Karai and with the Foot Clan that they would not interfere with each other. And it's kind of like a swear on your honor kind of thing. So like Raph's like, I kind of feel like that's legit. And then Raph fills everybody in and says, guess what? They're also my friends. They're my friends, I said. And they're like, they can't be friends. And he's like, they're my friends. And that's where Raph has to admit to his buddies that he basically, in his downtime, while everyone was busy not respecting him, and he got very emo for a while, he started hanging out with them. He trains with them. Some of them are his friends, and he tags along on missions. He tags along on Foot Clan missions now. Mm-hmm. Quote, it's fun. And Leo gets on this like, those are killers, dude. Like, we never talked about how if that's cool or not. Let me just tell you, that's not cool. And Leo and Raph's point is basically like, yeah, that's what ninjas do, my man.
He's got a point.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Think about that. You ever think? I never think about that, but that's totally true. Like, he's got a very valid point.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy. And so he says, yeah, and we've all killed before, like plenty of times. And then Donnie comes in, yeah, but in self-defense, not in cold blood. And it's a big discussion about this. But effectively, don't worry, because Raph, like, going to get emo and run away and say, you know what? Like, I'm going to go talk to the Foot Clan, get their assurance that they have nothing to do with this so we can rule them out, because I don't think they did it. And don't
Mm-hmm.
try to follow me. And then he says, like, good night, go to hell. And he, like, shuts the door and runs away. And they're like, Jerry, he's not himself. And all this stuff happens. And so now he's on the old Foot Clan hideout roof, hops in, and he's instantly flanked. Now this is being flanked by Foot Clan. You know what I'm saying? If you were curious about what being flanked by Foot Clan looks like, it is dropping into a warehouse surrounded and flanked by Foot Clan ninjas. Um, and effectively he asks for an audience with the clan council. And meanwhile, there's kind of a so that's where we leave things off with him. And then let's just say Casey comes home. And it ain't good.
No.
And Eric's gonna tell you all about it.
Yeah. So good old Casey comes home. A long time ago, Casey told us he was coming, and he's finally arrived. He's finally arrived, and he's here, and he is not happy. Rightfully so. Like, I mean, you can lose a lot of things. Like, you can lose like video games and toys and stuff, but you lose a kid. That's up there with some. That's a pretty high. It's hard to get them back. I mean, you could make another one arguably, but will it be the same? Not quite. And like, I don't know where cloning technology is, and then you have to go through the whole thing of like finding all the right elements, and it's a mess. That's probably what he's dealing with. Is like, because you don't have to go through all that. Just keep the one you got. That's the best advice. And unfortunately,
yeah,
Casey had been celebrating, and this is one of my biggest fears, and one of the reasons why I have a hard time engaging in a lot of extracurricular activities, such as drinking and doing other altering things, because my biggest fear is that as soon as I do, something's going to happen. Like something like this is going to just, oh hey, you're so like 6 nights out of the week everything was good, like no problems. Then tonight you're going to celebrate, you're going to do something. Oh, now everything's going to happen now, right now, and you have to make a choice. And it's going to affect everything going forward. Yeah, that's my biggest fear. And unfortunately, this is what happens with Casey. As he has come home very drunk off, from celebrating about his promotion at the grocery store. And he is throwing all kinds of stuff. He's mostly the TV and just anything he can. And he's like just calling Mikey a bastard and all this stuff, just rampaging. And rightfully so. He's a mess. And your boy's just tearing up, and you lost my baby, just pointing fingers, and this is unzipping him, like all the way, YKK all the way down, and your boy is just letting it all out, and the turtles, Don, Mike, Don, Leo, and Raph, they decide that they're gonna, we better leave. We're gonna let Casey, do his thing, because he's broken down. He's like just sobbing. And April comes in and they talk, and he's all emotional and hugging on her and stuff, and Mikey's still there in the middle of all of this because he's trying to explain the situation and what happened and just all this stuff, but Casey's just like spouting all this stuff, and he's saying a lot of things that, like, if he was of sound mind, he might not go so far as to say this stuff, but it's all his emotions and the alcohol and everything. So he ends up saying things like, she was all I had left of Gabby, which was Shadow's mother. And, he accuses April of being jealous of Shadow, of Gabby. And, you want a baby of your own, don't you? And just grabbing her and stuff. He's not like hitting her, but he's just, kind of getting a hold of her. But it's very strange. Now, I will say the April art looks a little bit more consistent here, as it did, or as opposed to. It
finally does now.
Yeah, as opposed to last episode, where she was a little bit all over the place. But yeah, so there's there's a lot of crying in this episode, in this issue, and it's strange. Oh, and I guess this is Leonardo. For some reason, I was thinking that was Mikey, but Leo is still here with April and Casey, letting this all work out.
Yeah, it's Leo. It's Leo trying to kind of like step in and kind of mediate a little bit, but he winds up taking a lot of the fire. Like Mikey can't even be there.
Yeah,
that's how. Like Casey's like, you won't come in my house.
Right,
like,
right.
But I'll talk to you guys. But some of the stuff he says, it is so much going back to Gabby, and it's a lot. When he says you're jealous of Shadow of Gabby, your own, you want a baby of your own, don't you? Don't you? That is like the meanest thing he could probably ever say to April. I don't know if you get meaner than that. Right. I read that. I was just like, holy crap. Like that is insane.
Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, and I think I kind of skipped over this, but Michelangelo has his own area at their place, which I think is like kind of in the basement area, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And so there's it's a lot there. There's a lot going on there, which is sad. But we come back to Raphael, and he finally gets counsel with the higher ups at the Foot Clan, and they're talking about how they give us a little bit more detail as to what's going on with their relationship, how they were impressed by the turtles, and we hold you and your brothers in high regard, and as formidable enemies and friends. We consider, we're just impressed with your prowess, all this stuff, and we would totally welcome you into our clan. Like, just if that's what you want to do, you're more than welcome. But Raph's talking about how there was a girl, trying to explain that she's been kidnapped, that Shadow's been kidnapped. And the Foot obviously think that he's like, so that you're accusing us. You think we took the kid? Like that's what you're accusing us of? And Raph's a little bit like, no, but my brothers think you did, and I'm just trying to figure this out. And and if anything, maybe something. We want to figure out like what I want to get any evidence to find out who did this, because there's ninja involvement here. And y'all are the only other ninjas that I really know. So like, what can you tell me? And I need to if there's anything, I'll search elsewhere. But like, the Foot was involved. He's like just dead ass. The Foot was involved. Just gonna tell you, Raphael. And in fact, the council approved the contract. So Raphael's like, that sucks. That sucks for Raph, because Raph's been like, vouching for these guys and saying that like, they're my friends, which even if they still do bad stuff, you still think that your friendship or your camaraderie or whatever, it has some weight. Like it'll pull some weight to where they're like maybe not so bad because you're not so bad. So maybe they're not, like by association. But unfortunately, like, that doesn't hold true at all here. And Raph is just like, why, and he brings up Karai, and he says, Karai, leader of the Foot Clan in Japan, promised peace between our clans, and the child is a part of our family and was stolen from my brother's very home, which is interesting that I believe he's talking about Michelangelo, as in that's Mikey's home, that's not Casey's home. It's as Casey being his brother, which I can see Raphael especially referring to Casey as a brother, but I think he's talking about Michelangelo here. And then they're talking about, well, that was unknown to us. Still, the deed is done. The child is already gone. Sorry, like, you don't have a receipt, do you? Because we can't return the child without a receipt. Yeah. And that's basically what the Foot says. And so just remember that if you lose
it happened. So that's it. Like, I just love that. Like, I can't tell you that because it'd be a lie, because we did do it.
Right.
That's the best.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the best. And
so Raph is just still being like, nah, like I need the girl. We got to figure it out. And so, so the Foot Clan talks about how, there's just to let you know, Raphael, just to keep you in the loop, there's been a divide between the New York clan and the clan in Japan. The Foot Clan, I should specify that, because you gotta be specific when you talk about clans. The both Foot Clans in Japan and in America, there's a divide, and Karai has not been seen in weeks. She is feared dead. Still, we have no desire to reopen old I can't say that word. Enmities? Yes.
Enmity.
Yeah. And I can tell you where the child is now for a price. And yeah, Raph's like, I'm not a millionaire. I don't have money. I can't. What do you think I do? And so he's like, no, oh, you misunderstand me. I do not seek money. The price I name is the death of this man. And he holds up a picture of Freddie Mercury, which is very strange that because he should be already dead by this point. Yeah, which the Foot didn't have the internet back then, so they probably didn't know. They probably just thought he was still,
Oh, maybe they didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because this. I mean, think about it. Freddie Mercury talked about don't stop me now. You can't stop me. And he's like singing that all the time, and that's
don't stop me. You can't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hoo hoo hoo. Whatever he says. Like the Foot are worried about this, so they're obviously going to try to get what appears to be Freddie Mercury off the table, but unbeknownst to them, unfortunately, it already happened. So, yeah. Then we cut back to April, and she's talking with the turtles and stuff, and they're talking about how everything's gonna be all right. We're gonna figure it out. Donnie's fixing Mike's TV. You get April looking a little stranger. Oh, you get a really sweet moment with Mikey. Holding on to April. And this is something that we kind of talked about when we reviewed the animated series, where April seems to be getting tired of being the den mother to the turtles. And they bring it up here where in their embrace, they ask her that, don't you ever get tired of being our den mother? And she goes, I did once, but I ran away and almost lost Casey when he fell in love with Gabrielle and married her. If she hadn't died giving birth to Shadow, he'd probably still be in Colorado with them. I sometimes think he'd be happier that way, and I can't help but feel that a piece of Casey died with Gabrielle. His innocence, his childhood maybe. So yeah, she is just in the feels, and rightfully so, because that. Now, if you don't remember, she ran off, and she was doing stuff with her sister at the same time that Casey was off with Gabrielle. And there was a lot of stuff like that with, I think, her dad, something that happened with her family, and they were sorting all that out, and we got to know about April's sister. And it was a weird time in the books, but it all came back together. And I love the way that it did, and I love how broken, but how pieced together it is, but it still works really well. I always love that dynamic about this family that, the turtles have. And so she's just, lamenting that she feels like she's lost him forever and stuff. But, she gets reassured. I think this is Michelangelo that's saying, Casey loves you, April. He always has, and he's always going to. Leo's going to keep an eye on him. And we've got news about Shadow. Is that right? Yeah, listen, we've got news about Shadow. And so then we cut back to the top of the roof. That's the word I was looking for. I couldn't think of top. I couldn't think of roof, Ryan. The roof of the Blake building, presumably. And we see that Raphael is up here with the Foot Clan, and he says, I recognize the guy in the photo that I'm supposed to rub out, I guess that I've never killed anyone, but I guess that's a phrase that you can say, is that you're going to rub them out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Producer Brad, if you can let us know if rub out, can you Google rub out for us, Producer Brad, and let us know if that is local New York parlance for murder, because down here in the
we
South,
had Noah talking about rubbing out boners in the pregame. So that phrase.
That's what I'm getting crossed up on.
Yeah,
that's probably what it was. Sorry. Thanks, Ryan. Sorry, Brad. You can close the Google. But thank you, Ryan, for clearing that up for me. Yeah, I just get a little crossed up on that. So anyway,
yeah.
Raphael continues about this guy he's going to rub out. And he goes, why does the Foot Clan want the kingpin of the New York mob snuffed? And why don't you do it yourselves? And they're like, well, do not question the council. This accomplishes both our goals. Kill the target and anyone else in the apartment, and the child will be yours, which is, how a lot of adoptions actually happen in New York, which is very strange. But, that's just the circle of life down there, or up there, I should say. Anyway, so, the Foot is just kind of just telling Raph, just here you go, do it. Here's some rope, and you're going to rappel down and do your thing. And I love this because this whole interaction with Raph and the Foot is just fantastic, in my opinion. So Raph's just great. Yeah. Thanks for nothing. All the times we've spent, all the good times we've spent, murdering people. and doing all this other stuff. Now you're just hanging me out to dry. Thanks a lot. But the foot is kind enough to remind them that the rope is your way in and out. The room you seek is 5 floors directly below us. Now, Ryan, I want to ask you real quick. Now, you and I have been friends for a million years, and blood of my blood. You know, we know each other very well, very intimately. And however, you know, I'm always surprised to learn things about your past that, like, you know, has been kept from me. Now, granted, you told me a long time ago, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. However,
that's what I always say.
That's what you always say. And so I wanted to ask you, though, have you ever rappelled off of anything like a building or, you know, a mountain? Or because I know you have some equestrian adventures, but so I think if anyone has an equestrian adventure, that they've also done something else similar to this, right? Like, or am I wrong?
I've repelled off of the side of like very large like hauling trailers when I worked for my dad.
Ooh.
We would have ropes up there tied to the beams that were going, you know, horizontally across the trailer that were like structural support beams, and it would also support the tarp that would roll over and secure. We had ropes tied on those for lifting the tarp up.
Right.
But sometimes when I wanted to get down the trailer and I'm standing on top of it, I would grab the rope and like basically like do like a little 2-jump rappel to get off it. It was a ton of fun.
That's awesome.
Then our current ropes we were using were higher grade and they got like old and weird and I didn't trust them anymore. So we had to get more rope, but it was that really rough, like terrible rope.
Yeah.
And it would burn my hands. So I stopped doing it.
Oh goodness. That sounds
I have
amazing.
rappelled down the side of a trailer several times.
Goodness. I don't know. Like for some reason, I felt like there was something there that I'm like, Ryan's got something about this. Ryan's done something
Absolutely.
like this. Yeah. So good to know that I know you well. Well, Raphael has undoubtedly done this before because, you know, he's just jumping backwards. Like, but then again, I don't know how you do it. I mean, I would assume that if you did it face forward, that's a little weird. But yeah. So, and then we get. So, and this is something longtime Turtletarians will know that the deep diving daddies here at Turtle Soup, we're huge fans of panel layout, and this is one of the best in this issue because there's a lot of dialogue in this issue. So there's still good art, but it's, you know, taking a back seat mostly. But we get this shot right here, Raphael rappelling down the side of the building.
Oh,
I
awesome.
love that. I love that so much, and he's full on Casey mask, just nuts. And so, yeah, he, and did you yell anything when you rappelled in your story, Ryan? Did you have like a thing like in your head? No, you just did it? Because here we have Raphael saying Geronimo, but you know.
I think that a lot of times I opened it like I opened almost everything, which was either look out, Ryan's coming, or get in the pit.
Get in the pit and play. Yeah.
Yeah. One of those two, typically.
Oh my goodness! I should.
Or sometimes it would be like if Shane was walking by and I wanted to do it and like drop down right in front of Shane, like blah.
Right.
I'd probably say something like kind of cool, like, "So what's for lunch?" or like,
that's okay.
Or like, "Got him," or something. I don't know.
Right.
Something like that.
Oh man. Well, like I said, Raphael says Geronimo in his inner monologue. And as he enters in, he's like, oh, this is a nice place. You know, it's the most expensive joint in town. Funny, though, I thought the old goat lived in a fortress on the west side of town. But there's signs of life coming around in the bedroom. Oh, snap. And then a lady comes out in a robe, and she says, I'll be right back, Tony. Raphael, classic Raphael, as we've seen evidenced here, he says, wow, what a babe. Tony must be a tiger, not a goat. So there you go. Yeah, and we get our first look at Tony, who is actually looks a lot less like Freddie Mercury here. Looks more like Stan Lee a little bit. This is Anthony Big Tony Puzzarelli. He's the worm at the core of the Big Apple. And yeah, he's seen here with the whole 8 in regards to the remote control, because that is just massive. He's got a martini And then he's smoking in bed. And this is, we mentioned earlier in the show when we were checking with chat, and Francisco said Tacobas in bed was worse than what was the worst. We were asking in the ticker what's worse than smoking in bed, Taco Bell in bed or smoking in bed. And so you can let us know in the chat or comments or turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. But dude smoking in bed.
So the question is which one's worse?
Basically,
Taco
what's
Bell
worse
in
than
bed or smoking in bed?
Yeah, which one's worse? Yeah.
Taco Bell is certainly worse. I've smoked in bed and it's awesome.
It's awesome. See, I'd be afraid that ashes.
I dated a girl once who, back in high school, her like parents like smoked in her house. She, they smoked in the house. It was like a holdover, and so we'd just smoke in her room, and there was just nothing. We just lay in bed. This is the funniest part because this is actually back. Like all this started when we were just friends.
Right.
We just lay in her bed. She had like a queen size bed, and we just watched like whatever was on HBO and just chain smoke cigarettes. And it was super awesome. Yeah.
Well,
I have fond memories.
Well, this dude, Big Tony, he's not watching HBO. Or at least he might be, but he's also reading a book. We don't know what the book is.
Man. He's a man of culture. You know
man of culture, and and it looks like he's got a mirror behind his bed, which is very telling. But yeah, half the crime in the 5-state area is committed in this guy's name. The guy's a disappointment in person. Which I think Raphael was like more wanting him to be something like, the Kingpin from Daredevil, like that kind of Wilson Fisk. So there's this really cool shot where Raphael is just being like seen through the smoke, and he's going through the laundry list of all the things that this guy does, and he's like, killing him would be doing society a favor, and he's like, but I can't do it, and it's almost as if. I was a little confused by the art here because it seems like he's in the room, but I don't know if this is like metaphorically, like he's just kind of like doing it. But now that I'm reading it now, I think he's actually in the room about to commit the crime, like about to murder him.
Absolutely. Like you're seeing him like in the shadow through the smoke, getting closer. In the second frame, he pulls up his sigh, and then he's like, I can't, and he backs out. Absolutely. Yeah. He's like danger close to this guy. And he has no idea.
Right, you can see it right here on the screen. I missed that in my first read. I didn't see the side, but that's because the smoke and the art and the black and white, it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
But no, that's true. So now he's making his exit, and he's like, Leo was right. They are just criminals, and we're not. We've got to draw the line somewhere. Sorry, Shadow. And that's tough. That's tough when you're like, I know where this kid is, and I can't kill this guy. That's wild. So then we turn the page. Let me get out. Let me back out a little bit. Turn the page, and Raphael sees the lights come on, and oh my God, we get your girl, and she's not alone now. She's holding a child, and the child is screaming and crying and says, "Uncle Raph" or Uncle Raffy. No, that's right. Yeah, Uncle Raph, and that's whenever all the boys come in and just start kicking the doors down. And Raphael's like totally screwed. Like, what's he gonna do? And he decides that he has to leave. And by the way, I kind of skipped around here. This lady was the same lady that had left the bedroom earlier and has now got Shadow and was going back into the bedroom with Shadow. Just putting that out there. So these guys bust in and they start just, blazing, just start guns a-blazing. And what's really neat is this framing right here, Ryan. I just noticed this, dude. This is the frame is broken by the somewhat silhouette of this lady that's holding Shadow, where she's separating Raphael and the goons, his guards, on the side. And that's just like, I don't know, that's just so cool to me because like Raph's just pretty much defenseless because he's just like up against guns again, but he ends up throwing at least one of his size into this dude, just getting him right in the chest. He took 3 to the chest. This guy did. So Raphael jumps out and gets the rope, which the Foot Clan promised was his way out. And as he's going up, he's like, oh man, well, like, at least we know where the kid's at now. So that's cool. And there's a foot soldier that's like a few stories like above him. And he's like, nah, hey, you failed your task, Turtle. Slice, and cuts the rope. So the guy says, the foot doesn't accept failure. And so, yeah, Raph's, like, well, now you tell me that sucks.
Or MasterCard.
Or MasterCard. That's true. They don't take either. Yeah. They're cash only, slash for cash kind of thing. So, yeah. And then that's where we leave it. Raphael plummeting to his death, presumably. But with the knowledge of where, our kidnapped child is. So that's something. So he's not totally empty-handed. He's got that knowledge in his head and the rope in his hand. So, yeah. I thought this was great. I thought this issue really you feel everything in this issue, in my opinion. You feel Casey's remorse and his like just bewilderment about this whole situation, and then like all of his emotions that he's got to deal with about Gabby still that he probably still hasn't fully addressed. You get April's emotions and then Mikey's feelings, and everybody is like pulling their weight as far as like, how this is affecting them and stuff. And then Raphael dealing with this betrayal from the foot, and we're learning so much more about the foot, which is fantastic. Cause like I always felt like, especially in the animated series, that the foot soldiers were just totally like just throwaway. And I'm like, these are so cool. Like they could be so much more than what y'all are doing with them. And yeah, but still, the big thing though was I was not expecting this kid. I was expecting the typical, okay, we got this, we got your kid. We want something in exchange. But no, this is insinuating that this child is being, I think this is what they're wanting you to think, is that it's insinuating that there's something presumably like sexual maybe going on, or something inappropriate to say the least. Because why else would a woman like in a robe go and get a child and bring a child into the bedroom while like, that was my first thought. Like, is there some like weird, like inappropriate stuff going on here? And I'm like, that's just, maybe I'm wrong, but that was my first thought. What do you think? Cause you're obviously giving me the look that's like, that I'm way far-fetched. Our way out there.
Not. No, she obviously leaves whatever she's doing with the mob guy. Probably is going to like check on her or whatever, and is walking her either to her room or out to get something to eat or something. She's just with Shadow, and that's when they notice Raph. I got zero like anything inappropriate off of that.
See, I was thinking that they were going right back to the bedroom, but yeah, you might be right, but it's hard to tell from the art where they're going. But yeah, no, that could be right as well. But nevertheless, I mean, having a child that's not yours, obviously.
I think you've been reading too much QAnon. But anyway,
too much what?
QAnon.
Oh, sorry.
It was supposed to be a quick joke, but because we're both cut up in each other's earphones, you can't be quick. So
exactly, yeah.
Yep.
So, but everything in this is just really heartfelt, and like you're just tugging at your heartstrings as the Foot Clan cuts them off and you're falling to your death, saying Geronimo. So like, but yeah, what was your take on this? How do you feel about this issue?
Oh, I loved it. I think that it follows like mainly like kind of like a Mikey and Raph kind of thread, which I'm a big fan of. Right? You got Raph's thread of like, at first he didn't think she was kidnapped and is being kind of mean to Mikey. Then, oh wait a minute, it is, turns into this whole thing with, like, oh, well, I mean, my boys, the Foot Clan, didn't do it. Oh, they did do it? Oh, and we learn a lot about Karai, about, like, that, people think she might be dead. She's fallen out of favor, for sure. And maybe those deals don't hold the same. And then at the end, he finds out where Shadow is, but gets betrayed by his Foot friends. So, and I think that my favorite part of the comic definitely was where he had the opportunity to kill the man and then realized, like, kind of that Leo was right.
Yeah,
because that kind of goes right against his point that he was trying to make earlier on Leo, where he's like, yeah, we're the only ninjas that don't do contracts, and that's obnoxious because we've killed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So why don't we just do contracts? And Donnie and Leo are trying to explain it to him. He's like, that's malarkey. I think here he actually, when the dog kind of catches the car, I think he looks at it and goes, oh, I could just kill this guy on literally a contract. That's it. And I've never really done this. Well, I can't do it. Oh, yeah. Right. And of course, the Mikey of it all. Just the super sad, like, kind of, him in his feels trying to get through it. I think Casey's outburst is another highlight of the comic. That's just brutal. And that's, and once again, here's Image, because the thing is that you're bringing the action, you're bringing the complication, and you're also bringing like the heart to it. And I really like it. And once again, it just keeps going. This is actually a really action-packed issue. And if you think about where the story starts to where it ends, also the story really moves forward a lot as well.
It does.
Which is like really cool in a book that's got a lot of action in it, that they can combine those two things. That's just really good writing. So bravo. I think it's another great issue of Image. Like, I can't wait to do the next one. I
agree. But while you were talking, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I love how it worked. I love how it worked out. I love Raphael's turmoil with trying to kill someone. However, a few issues ago, we saw him just murk a guard that did not have, that was guarding a guy that had his dad hostage. But like, this is a kid though. You could just straight up just go in there and murk this dude who is a crime boss who has done, and you're listing his laundry list of like just dirty deeds. Yeah. And not only that, but you were right there. You can you kill him. No one's going to yell. You incapacitate the woman who is with him, his companion, and just try to, because presumably now she might be proficient with martial arts or whatever, but assuming that she's not, you can easily take her out and get Angel and be out of there. Worst case scenario is you create a power vacuum, and then there's an issue there, but like, that's something you're dealing with one way or the other in this kind of New York, like crime-ridden New York. But that's my only gripe, is that where was the Raphael that was like, oh, this one's already dead, or too late about this one, when he already murdered this guy for far less than what this guy has. I guess you can new drink it by saying that Raph might feel a little, it's obvious that the guard that he killed was outside the place that his dad was being held, and it was obvious that his dad was there. Like, it was a little more clear. With this situation, the Foot Clan, what are they trying, like, what else aren't they telling him? Because they've already betrayed him and like, flipped the script on him a few times. So maybe he might be in that kind of mindset where he's like not wanting to make the, show all his cards, put it all in black or whatever. And so I don't know, maybe there's something there, but we got, this is, like you said, this is moving the story along. So I'm really excited to see, like you said, where it's going to go from here. And that would be, I think it's going to go to issue number 8 from here. So we'll be reviewing that here in the future. But guys, what are you thinking about this issue? How do you feel about it? Do you love these covers? Do you love Image so far? Has our reviews or our, like deep dive into it changed your opinion on Image's run in any way, shape, or form? Let us know. Email us at turtlesoupshow.com. That's not the email address. That is the website, turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. And then you can go to the home of the internet, turtlesoupshow.com, and you can find all our old episodes up there, and you can listen to them and then email us about those as well. And then if you want to be a part of all the cool Turtletarians and all everyone's doing and like getting in on the news and the freshest stuff, you can do that by going over to Facebook and joining our Facebook group and be kept up to breast. No, kept. How did I say it? Did I say up to breast? Yeah, kept up to breast. Yeah, that's the way I said it.
Kept up to breast. Yep.
Yeah. On all the latest
things. I almost said that to someone in a professional capacity on the phone the other day at work.
Yes.
I told somebody, I was like, I will keep you. And my mouth was about to say up to breast. I said up to, and I almost said breast. And I just pulled the stick up. It's like, pull up. Pull up.
Yeah, pull up.
And I just pulled up, and it was like date. And it sounded like I had never heard the word, probably the phrase before.
Right.
It probably sounded like I was making up the phrase live, like coining it live.
Yeah.
I damn near just almost told this woman on the phone, a dead ass, just I'll keep you up to breast. I almost just said it, and it would have been awful.
That would have been awful. I'm sorry I did that to you. But speaking of things that aren't awful, we have our wonderful patrons. If you want to throw some pennies our way, like the wonderful patrons of Turtle Soup that keep the lights on and keep everything moving and flowing, you can do that by going to patreon.com. Find Turtle Soup's Done Been Making a Podcast, and you can sign up for some cool stuff to get them. And I think everyone's got their stuff now, which is really cool. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we got some new stuff that we're working on that will hopefully be ready for this next batch coming up. And so keep your eyes out for that. And yeah, I think that's going to do it from us here on the Prime side, Ryan. So yeah, I think that's it. So else time.
Else time.
I thought, oh,